age-appropriate craft ideas for a 1 to 2-year-old. So I have 3 different ideas. Let's talk about them one by one. And I first want to preface by saying I do not have children of my own. I just have a dog, so I'm not really the best person to give advice for kids, but I do follow a couple of people that post about their kids a lot and are crafters and creators, so I will talk about them throughout the projects. So the first one seems really easy, a sensory bin. This is all over Pinterest when I looked it up, and I had first heard about this from Maker Mint on Instagram, who I would highly recommend following if you have kids. Her kids are much older than the 1 to 2 age range, but she posts lots of DIYs, lots of fun creative activities for your kids. I believe she still teaches classes even through Zoom every once in a while, so if you have kids, then maybe you can get on that and take a class with her, but she is just a wealth of information. So sensory bins seem really cool. The way that I've seen her do it is kind of have like one of those small plastic containers, almost like a shoebox size, and then that way you can put the lid on it and you can save it for another day. So she had mentioned using black beans, and when I was looking on Pinterest, I actually saw this one. I'll post a photo right here with black beans and little carrots, so it was like they were digging, like they were gardening. I've seen some for the summertime where you can get really big ice molds and you can take flowers and leaves and freeze them in the ice molds, and then it can be an outdoor sensory bin where they can watch them melt and I don't know, just do all kind of fun stuff like that. There's a ton of ideas for sensory bins, and you could customize it to the age of your kid, what they're interested in, if they're interested in gardening, if they like more I don't know, toys or animals, and you can put little figurines in there. You can kind of go nuts and do whatever you want. So that's the first idea. Maker Mint, great source to go and look at her, and then also just look at sensory bins on Pinterest. The next idea, which I think is really cool, if you wanted an actual like tangible craft that your kid can make and you can keep, and that is the no mess painting. So I first saw this idea from Amanda Evanston, who I follow on Instagram, and she is a painter by trade, but she has 2 small kids. So every once in a while she will post tutorials or crafts that she's doing with her children, and this is one of them. And again, Pinterest is awesome because then you can kind of get more ideas and see what's going on there. So if you look up no mess painting on Pinterest, the way that they do it is you take like a big gallon-sized Ziploc bag, you put a canvas in there, not necessarily a canvas, but cardstock, any kind of substantial paper that isn't gonna rip because they're kind of gonna be moving stuff around. So you put that in there, and then you just put some like squirts of paint in there, and then you seal it up, and then on your table you tape it down. That way they can't move it. But you tape it down, and then you just let your kid go for it. They can move the paint around with their fingers, but it's no mess because they're just touching the plastic Ziploc bag. And then after they're done, then you can take the piece of paper out, and then you can let it dry, and you have a little piece of artwork from your kid. I think this would be really cool if you don't necessarily want like a finished product and you just like this craft, this activity for them. Then I think it would be really cool to do something like shaving cream on the inside, and something as easy. You could do paint, but whatever you have on hand. You could do food coloring, and then you can also put little things in there. Like you can put little gems, you can put little sequins, and then the same thing, tape it up, and then they can kind of have fun moving it around and mixing the paint or the food coloring inside of the in the shaving cream. Like I think that would still be a really fun craft for little kids to do. So that's a really fun idea. Also, just a side note for the parents, Amanda Evanston is really great. She does post a lot of painting tutorials on her Instagram. She has classes that you can actually take from her website, but also another really great source of inspiration, and I would follow her if you do have small kids. just for the chance that she would share those things. She also shares a lot about what good type of painting materials to get. I think she has it saved in her story highlights of her favorite things to get from Michael's, her favorite things to get from Walmart, like a whole shopping guide and where to get the best deal. So that is just like really great information if you are looking to build up your painting supplies. And then the third option is something more that you would make for your kid to play with. So not necessarily a craft that they would get to play, but a toy that you get to make for them. And that is a bead run. So I didn't know that's what this was called, but it's this like toy that is like the wooden base that has the wire with all the beads in it, and you kind of move the beads around. I remember playing with this at like doctor's offices when I was little. I remember them being kind of cheesy and bright colors, which is fine. They're still really cool, but I like the idea of making this yourself because it's a really super simple craft. I mean, it's literally a base, some strong wire, and beads. And so that's something that I feel like is actually a very good beginner craft. So even if you don't feel like you're a strong maker, I think this would be a really fun toy to make for your kids. I would go to the thrift store and just get, I don't know, whatever. You can get a tray, you could find something that you can kind of use as your base to be affordable. That way you don't have to worry about going to the hardware store and picking out a piece of wood and cutting it down. Like, I would just bypass that entire step and just go to the thrift store and find something that you like, or use a piece of furniture, maybe like an end table that you already like, and then just kind of repurpose it. And I will say this idea came from, I had saw a video of someone do this. So it's the Sorry Girls. I tried to find the specific video where they did this. It was several DIYs, and they mostly do furniture upcycles and all kind of stuff. They don't really do kid stuff very often, but this was, I think, maybe the only time I've seen them make a toy. And it was really cute. They customized the colors. It was really cool, but I think even without the tutorial, you can kind of figure it out on your own because it's pretty simple. Just get like a really strong gauge wire. You also have the option of then doing whatever kind of beads you want. If you want it to be natural wood beads, if you want it to be silicone, if your kid is still like biting on everything, I mean, you can make it whatever color palette you want. You can use natural materials. Super simple. Again, you don't have to cut anything down if you salvage your base. And then you just are drilling holes, and then I would use like a really strong glue, like maybe Gorilla Glue or something that you put in when you put the wire in the hole. That way it's really sturdy and your kid can't pull it out. But even if you don't have a drill, I would just use like nails and then a hammer to take it out, and that's how you create your hole to put the wire inside of the wood piece. So super simple, and then you're just kind of tangling the wire around and threading the beads and then putting the wire back in the other side of the wood. I hope that makes sense. I mean, if you look at a picture, you can kind of figure it out. But I think that would be a super fun craft. I wish I had more tangible options for like 1 to 2 year olds to actually create themselves. But I hope that gives you a start, and I hope that gives you some ideas of things that you can make for your kid. If you have any questions, or just anyone watching, if you have ideas for what they could make or craft ideas for the 1 to 2 year old, please leave them in the comments. I would love everyone to kind of share and give each other some suggestions. So if you have craft questions, please go to emilymakestuff.com and fill out the contact form, and I'll answer your question here.